Hello viewers, my name is Kashki Dwivedi. Today I am dealing with the muscles of the pectoral region. In the previous video of the pectoral region playlist, I have dealt with the platysma muscle. Here I will discuss the or start with the major or the chief muscles of the pectoral region, that are pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, subclavius and the serratus anterior. So I will deal with this all four muscles in detail in separate videos in continuation of the muscles of the pectoral region playlist, and in this video I will basically focus or concentrate on the pectoralis major muscle only. So before going to the muscles of the pectoral region, we must have a knowledge about the pectoral region. So pectoral region is the region in front of the chest or to the anterior of the chest, and it essentially consists of the structures that connects the upper arm with the anterolateral chest wall, and it pertains to the chest or the breast. So concentrating or coming to our topic, that is pectoralis major, composed of the word pector. Pector means the chest and major means the larger. So this is the largest muscle of the pectoral region. Secondly, it is present at the superior part of the thorax. I have already dealt with the thorax. My video is exists in the basic anatomy playlist named body cavity, and also a video on thorax is available in the thoracic anatomy playlist. You may go and watch it for detailed understanding about the thorax. So in the picture, basically this reddish brown or the reddish orange color fibers is of the pectoralis major muscle. This reveals the fan like structure. So this pectoralis major muscle is a fan shaped muscle present on the both side. And when I deal with the shoulder joint, I will explain that actually the 9 muscles exist that crosses or passes through this shoulder joint. Among these 9 muscles, actually the 7 muscles arises or originates from the scapula bone. Thus that 7 muscles are known as the scapular muscle. But there exist 2 muscles, pectoralis major and the latissimus dorsi. These 2 muscles actually arises or originates from the axial skeleton. Thus these 2 muscles are named as the axial muscle, and these 2 muscles help or aid in the movement of the upper arm, basically the humerus. So what we have learned, we get 2 more points about the pectoralis major muscle, that it's a axial muscle. Secondly, it helps or aids in the movement of the humerus bone. So how and why it help or aid in the movement of the humerus bone, we will get to learn in next slide in detail. Actually there is lies an insertion of this pectoralis major muscle to the humerus that helps to perform this function. Now basically the pectoralis major muscle has broadly 2 heads. One is the clavicular head and the second sternocostal head. Heads are the region from where the fibers of the muscle arises. So the clavicular head is small and sternocostal head is larger. So there lies a significance or utility of the small and large size that I will explain in next slide when I talk about the bilamellar or U-shaped insertion of this muscle to the humerus bone. There I will explain and apply this concept. And addition to it, there also exists the abdominal head that we also look in next slide, and it has a common insertion to the humerus bone. Now as I have talked, it has the 2 heads. One is the clavicular head, other is the sternocostal head. So clavicular head, from the clavicular head there arises clavicular fibers from the front of the medial third of the clavicle. As we have already studied in the clavicle bone anatomy that clavicle bone has two ends. One is the acromion end, present at near to the shoulder joint or near to the acromion process, and second end is the sternal end that connects the sternum. So towards the acromion end there lies the lateral 1/3, and towards the sternal end there lies the medial 2/3 of the clavicle. So from the anterior aspect or the front of the medial 2/3 of the clavicle bone there arises fibers of the pectoralis major muscle known as the clavicular fibers. Now coming to the sternocostal head, composed of the word sternum and the costal cartilage. So from the anterior aspect of the sternum and the upper 6 thoracic cartilage there arises the fibers of known as sternocostal fibers, and this muscle has an insertion to the lateral rib of the bicipital groove of the humerus. Basically in humerus we study there lies the two tubercles, one is the greater tubercle and one is the lesser tubercle, and in between these two tubercles there lies the sulcus or the groove known as the intertubercular sulcus or intertubercular groove or the bicipital groove. So at the lateral lip of that groove there lies the insertion of the pectoralis major muscle, and also an insertion lies to the crest of the greater tubercle. Now the action function. So this muscle overall or as a whole causes adduction and medial rotation of the arm, and as this muscle is composed of the two head, one is the clavicular head, other one is the sternocostal head. So clavicular head actually causes the flexion of the arm against the shoulder joint of the humerus bone. Secondly, sternocostal head extends the flexed arm against resistance at the shoulder joint of the humerus bone towards the trunk. Now the nerve supply. Nerve supply basically by the cords of the brachial plexus and their branches. So the nerve supplying to this muscle have the root value same as that of the roots of the brachial plexus. So brachial plexus is supplied by the 5 roots C5, C6, C7, C8 and T1. So the root value of the nerve supplying to this pectoralis major muscle remains same as that of the roots of the brachial plexus. So basically we study two nerves, lateral pectoral nerve having root value C5, C6 and C7, and medial pectoral nerve C8 and T1 supplying to this muscle. Further we study that the lateral pectoral nerve basically supplies to the clavicular head of the pectoralis major muscle. So the root value C5, C6 of the lateral pectoral nerve supply to the clavicular head. So the clavicular head is purely have a lateral pectoral nerve supply having root value C5 and C6, and the sternocostal head is supplied with the medial pectoral nerve C8 and T1 and lateral pectoral nerve having root value C7. And further we study in clinical that if any damage arises to these cervical spinal nerves or the segmental nerves or the brachial plexus, that causes the clinical that we deal in the next video of the clinicals of the pectoralis major muscle. Also there lies one concept that this lateral pectoral nerve reaches to this pectoralis major muscle after piercing the clavipectoral fascia, and this medial pectoral nerve reaches the pectoralis major muscle after piercing the pectoralis minor muscle. Basically these nerves and pectoralis major muscle and the clavipectoral fascia lie beneath this muscle. Actually we study that this green color fibers are of the pectoralis major muscle, and beneath this various structures lie or under the cover of this pectoralis major muscle, broadly we study 5 structures. Number 1, bones and cartilages. So there lies the sternum bone, costal cartilages and ribs. Secondly, fascia, there exists the clavipectoral fascia. Then muscle, there lies the subclavius muscle, serratus anterior muscle, pectoralis minor, upper part of the bicep brachii and coracobrachialis. Then vessels or the blood supply, so there lies the axillary artery, axillary vein, and nerve supply, there exists the cords of the brachial plexus and their roots. Now the bony and the cartilaginous attachment of the pectoralis major muscle. So there have a 5 bony or cartilaginous attachment. Number 1 with the clavicle, second with the sternum or the breastbone, third costal cartilages, ribs and humerus bone. So we have discussed earlier also the origin. So number 1, origin is from the anterior surface of the medial 2/3 of the clavicle. There arises the clavicular fiber. Then sternum, in the previous video I have already told that sternum is divided into 3 parts: manubrium, body of the sternum, and lowermost or the inferiormost part of the sternum, that is the Giffard process or the Giffey sternum. So from the manubrium part, anterior of the manubrium part, there arises the manubrial fiber. From the body, from the lateral border of the anterior surface or the anterior aspect of the sternum up to the 6 costal cartilages, there arises fibers. Then from the medial part of the 2nd to 6th costal cartilages, sternal end of the 6th rib, there arises fibers. And also in addition to these 5, there is also fibers from the aponeurosis of the external oblique muscle of the abdomen. Aponeurosis is basically a flat sheet or the membranous tendon. So the function of the aponeurosis remains the same as that of the tendon, that it actually connects the muscle to muscle or muscle to bone, and they have a common insertion to the lateral lip of the intertubercular sulcus or intertubercular groove or the bicipital groove, and to the crest of the greater tubercle of the humerus bone. Now actually in previous I have discussed that the clavicular head is smaller and the sternocostal head is larger. So I am applying this concept here. At the humerus there lies a U-shaped bilamellar insertion. Why bilamellar? Because there exist the 2 lamella. One is the anterior lamella, other one is the posterior lamella. So anterior lamella is basically composed of the clavicular head. So as the clavicular head is small, so anterior lamella is also small or shorter, as we see in picture, and the sternocostal head is actually larger, and the posterior lamella is composed of the sternocostal head. So thus posterior lamella is longer. As we see in picture, anterior lamella is thicker and shorter, and posterior lamella is thinner and longer. Now the anterior lamella consists of fibers from the clavicular head and the manubrial fibers. So anterior lamella consists of clavicular fibers and the manubrial fiber, whereas the posterior lamella composed of the rest of the sternocostal fibers and the aponeurotic fibers. And basically the sternocostal fiber includes the sternal fibers along with the costal fiber. So I am telling that the sternal fibers and the aponeurotic fibers become twisted around and passes to the lower border of the rest of the muscles and extend from the thorax to the arm or the humerus and reaches to the site of attachment, that is to the lip of the bicipital groove or the intertubercular sulcus or intertubercular groove or to the crest of the greater tubercle, and there as they are twisted, so the lower point attaches with the highest to the humerus bone and the highest part attaches or inserted at the lowest position to the humerus bone. So this causes a anterior axillary fold. So that's all about the pectoralis major muscle. In next video we apply these concepts of the pectoralis major muscle what we have discussed in this lecture and deal their clinical testing, clinical correction, clinical anomalies, and the damage or the paralysis arises due to the damage to the segmental or the cervical nerves of the spinal cord or the brachial plexus. So thanks for watching. Thank you.